What's up, guys? How you doing? All right, so let's go over how to track macronutrients. Okay, so this is a really hot topic. It's something that will help you out a lot, and there's a lot that goes into it. But I'm gonna try and respect your time and make this quick, short, and sweet. Okay, so I have a whiteboard up. Hopefully you can see it. I've been trying to adjust this camera, so hopefully you can. This is legible. All right. My handwriting, that's a different story. That might not be very legible at all. So I'll read it to you. So this is how to track macros. First of all, what are macros? Macronutrients are proteins, carbohydrates, and dietary fats. They make up all of your calories, okay? They are, as I tell people, it's really the framework to your nutrition, okay? So if you know what those numbers are and what you need to achieve your goals, okay? For instance, if it's 150 grams of protein, 150 grams of carbohydrates, and then 100 grams of fat. Okay, just some arbitrary numbers. That's your framework. And then how you fill that in is your food selection, what you like to eat, what's going to keep you on your diet. This is really empowering because it's not some coach telling you you have to eat this, you have to eat that. You go with your taste buds, okay? And it's good to mix things up. It's good for your gut microbiome. You need diversity. So having numbers to shoot for every day is a really good way to do it, okay? Before we get into this, why would you want to even track? Why would you want to take the time to buy a food scale and weigh your food out and cook in bulk? And isn't that so monotonous? Do I have to do that? Do I have to do that? No, you don't. You don't have to do it. You don't have to do anything. I mean, you can eyeball it and you can try that way. I just feel like after training hundreds of people that's the longer road. So this is a really good stepping stone to never having to track again if you don't need to. Because if you learn how to track using an app like MyFitnessPal, you're going to learn a hell of a lot about nutrition. Okay? You're going to learn that maybe you consume way more fat than you thought. Maybe it's snuck into foods that you've been eating. Simple things like that. You might be way overshooting. And as soon as you start to track and you start to stay accountable to the calories that you're eating, a lot of times you'll lose weight really quickly because you're not having a bunch of excess calories. If you want precise results, you need to take precise measures, okay? So if you really want to get trim, you really want to get cut up, you want to get healthy, the time is now. Take control, and the best way to take control of that steering wheel is to be precise, weigh your food, and track your macronutrients. So with that said, let's get into it. The reason that tracking macros is important is because that's where your calories come from, okay? And so your calories, without a doubt, are the most important factor in if you're gonna lose body fat or gain muscle, right? So dietary fat, I have it as number one because it is the most important macronutrient. All of the hormones in your body are derived from fat, okay? Ketones are the very first energy source of the human body, okay? Not glucose, which is sugar. Ketones are what fat turns into. They also help you from being inflamed. Okay, so it brings inflammation down in the body. They're very anti-inflammatory. So fats though, you got to be careful. They're 9 calories for every 1 gram. So if you eat something and there's 10 grams of fat in it, okay, there's going to be 90 calories from fat associated with that. Okay, versus protein and carbohydrates, they're 4 calories for every 1 gram. Okay, so you eat something with 10 grams of protein or carbohydrates, that's going to be 40 calories. All right, so just you multiply it. So obviously dietary fat it's twice as calorically dense as protein and carbohydrates, but it's also very filling. Okay, so when you have fat in the diet, it makes things taste good, it makes things taste hearty, and then it also keeps you full, so you don't feel ravenous like you need to eat a bunch. So that's one of the benefits of it. But a little bit goes a long way. That's why sometimes you ever try to get just 1 serving of peanut butter, right? It's kind of a joke, right? It's 28 grams is like a nibble, so but that's the way of the world, and I wish it wasn't like that. I wish I could eat scoops full of peanut butter every day. I try to, but sometimes it doesn't work. So anyway, those are your 3. Now I have fiber up here. Fiber is not a macro, but needs to be tracked. It needs to be tracked, okay? And don't do the net carbs thing. That's kind of a waste of time. What you should go for is a general recommendation of 20 to 30 grams of fiber for a female and 30 to 40 grams of dietary fiber a day for a meal. Okay? And you know, some people can get away with doing more. That's not really what I'm getting at. Like, this is kind of the healthy standard ranges, okay? So, you know, like vegetarians and vegans, a lot of times they eat tons of produce. So they're gonna, you know, just to get the calories in, they're gonna end up getting 50 grams of protein or 50 grams of fiber. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that if your body can handle it. But if you get too much fiber, you can get malabsorption, so you kind of got to be careful. But anyway, fiber's not a macro, but it's a substrate. It's a byproduct of carbohydrates. Okay, so basically, if you're eating lots of vegetables, those are carbohydrates, but they're mostly fiber carbohydrates, and that's why you want to have them in your diet. And they're full of micronutrients. So that's kind of what makes up all the food groups. Okay, and what you need to do is you need to get familiar with each food group. What is a carbohydrate? What is a protein? What is a fat? Okay. So if there's pick three of your favorite foods from each category. So say carbohydrates, say oatmeal, bananas, and rice. Okay, so those are 3 carbohydrates. That is what you can start to eat and consume as you track. Okay, and the same goes for the protein and the fat. So how are we going to do that? We're going to do that by using an app called MyFitnessPal on your phone. So what you want to do is go to your app store. You're going to want to download this. There's a few other ones out there. I'm just most familiar with MyFitnessPal. That's why I'm recommending it. So what we want to do is, when you weigh out your food, you need to get a food scale. That's number 1, okay? And you can weigh out your food in all of your meats in a cooked state. I recommend, okay? That way you can cook up a bunch of chicken at once and you have it sitting in the fridge, and then all you need to do is you just disperse it as needed, okay? Which versus weighing raw meat and then you got to cook it and then it loses some of the weight of it, and it just gets really confusing that way, okay? If you're tracking your food, one of the best things to do is to food prep. Prepare your food in advance. So say you cook up a bunch of chicken breasts, and then you do a bunch of sweet potatoes, and you just have them sitting in the fridge, and that way, you know, the night before you have to go to work, you just weigh out your meals, however many you want to have, whether that's 2 meals or 6 meals. You weigh those guys out, and then you have all your nutrition for you on the go the next day. That makes it easier than cooking every individual meal. That's chaotic. Nobody wants to do that. That's why you have to learn this system. And in the beginning, there's going to be a learning curve. There always is. But if you get going on this, it will take barely any time at all, and it will become so second nature you guys won't even realize it. Okay? So you have to put the effort in the beginning, and things will get easier, but it's going to be hard in the beginning. Okay? Just know that, but it's a winnable fight. So, you download MyFitnessPal. So say you have 8 ounces of chicken. Okay? What we're going to do, I'm going to try and show you here. Whoop. Okay, you're here. So you come up here. Okay, that's a search bar. This will search online for anything. So I've had this before. I've had chicken breast before. You can see right up top there, you have chicken breast. You're going to click into it. If it was 8 ounces, whoop. You're going the wrong way here. 8 ounces, and that's going to give you a macronutrient breakdown of that food. Okay? So it's telling you how many grams of protein, how many grams of carbohydrates, and how many grams of fat are in that chicken breast. Then you're going to hit add. You're going to go up here. Boom. Sorry that this is not as easy as I was hoping it was going to be. But anyway, you're going to add it, okay? And then you have your total up here. Okay? So that's how you want to go ahead and track. So you just use MyFitnessPal. You guys are going to weigh out your food. One of the common questions that I get is, well, what happens if I like to make soups, John? What do I do if I'm making soups? Or anything that takes a lot of ingredients. What you have to do in the beginning, you guys, is you have to sacrifice a little bit. Okay? So what you're going to do You need to go simple in the beginning to complex. What does that mean? That means in the beginning, it's going to be best if you just pick a protein source, a carbohydrate source, and a fat source, and then that's your meal right there. As you guys pick this up, you can start to add, you start to add ingredients. There's a thing in MyFitnessPal where you can actually make recipes, so you can add 15 things if you want, and then you have this big bolus of calories, and then you can basically disperse it into how, four servings or 6 servings. You can choose to do that, but that's a little too technical in the beginning. So always start simple. So that might be like 2 whole eggs and a half an avocado in the morning for breakfast, versus trying to make some extravagant omelet and all that. Make it easy on yourself, you guys. Okay. That's gonna bring us down to here now. Okay. Don't forget your macros. All right. So it's I have a hard time recommending this. Okay. I have a hard time recommending saying that that overall calories take precedence over your food selection, because although you can get away with eating shit food and junk food and like fitting it to your numbers, like, Pop-Tarts are never going to be better than a sweet potato when you're on a diet. Okay, now I get that some people, it gives them a little bit of freedom and they feel like they're not going to binge eat and fall off track. Well, that's okay, but that's not what we want to lead with. Okay, you should always try and eat whole, nutritious, healthy food. All right, that's the most important thing. So don't forget your macros. You guys need to be eating vegetables, produce, buy grass-fed meat if you can. Okay, the difference between grass-fed meat and corn-fed meat, which is high in omega-6s, the typical Western diet that we Americans live in and have is a 27-to-1 ratio of omega-6s to omega-3s. That's highly inflammatory. Okay, what does inflammation do in the body? It can cause disease and cancer. It's very bad. It makes it so you don't recover from your workouts quickly. There's a whole host of bad things, so we want to bring that number down. So it would behoove you to buy grass-fed meat and spend the extra money if you can. Okay, that's micronutrition. Micronutrition should not be forgotten about just because you're worried about proteins, carbs, and fats. Okay, you need to be focusing on that. And sorry, a multivitamin is not going to save your ass. Your multivitamin is eating your vegetables. Okay. So I'm going off a little tangent there, but I mean, I see it way too much where people just focus solely on macronutrients and they're not worried about where they're getting their vitamins A through zinc from. Okay, you should be consuming that too. So, so that's why I feel that you kind of want to tie in number 1 and number 2 together. Okay. How many grams of protein, carbs, and fats are you getting a day? Okay. Food selection and micronutrients is going to be the second thing you want to worry about. But really, as I was just saying earlier, they should be synonymous. They should be tied together. Okay. You should be focusing on trying to hit your macro numbers, and then also getting lots of those micronutrients. And most micronutrient dense foods are going to have fiber. So it's kind of a win-win. Oh, baby. Oh, the baby wants to say hi. Oh, baby. I got a little cameo action here if you can't hear my dog running around too. Hey, buddy. So then you got meal frequency, okay? Whether you eat 1 meal a day or 6 meals a day to consume, say, your 2,000 calories that you might need, that's irrelevant. That takes all that is good, but you have to have these pillars down here in order to really see success and shortcut everything, okay? Shortcut everything as much as you can. I shouldn't have said that. I don't really like the term shortcut. That's kind of a weak term, okay? There's no shortcuts here. You have to do things the hard way. You have to do them the right way. There's the right way, and then there's the other way. You don't want to do it that way. And then meal timing, which is really nutrient timing. So that would be like worrying about how many grams of protein you scientifically need after a workout, or how many grams of carbohydrates to replenish glycogen and all that. Don't worry about that in the beginning. That right there, that's splitting hairs in the very beginning, okay? In the very beginning, what you need to focus on is just your overall calories, and you need to get to the gym. That's all you got to do. You got to make it simple, you guys. If you ever want to be on this journey for forever, for life, which is what you should want to do, you need to do things slowly, man. Add one thing at a time, slowly. Start counting your calories. All right, cool. Then break down into the how much protein you need. Then start going into how the types of foods that you need to eat, and then go into nutrient timing, and you kind of like you add to this thing, right? But your foundation is always going to be how many calories do you have as far as your nutrition goes. Okay. I always get that question. What happens, John, if I eat out? What do I do? How do I log? All you need to do is go on that app, search for something similar, and basically what I do is I look for the highest calorie food. That's that food, say it's a cheeseburger, right? So the highest calorie cheeseburger, and then like the lowest calorie cheeseburger, and then the middle one. Go with the middle one, and then just add like 20% if you're really trying to be strict. If you're not trying to be super strict, then just go ahead and just eat it and then just log that. But at least you have something accounted for when you go out. Okay, worry about the important things, and then the most important things, the big pillars, and then you can start to add all the flair and all that next. It's like worry about having a strong engine in your car and having 4 tires on it and making sure that it drives down the road, and then you can start to tint the windows and put rims on it, and whatever, put your sound system in it, and you put your lights and everything. So I think that's it. I think we figured it all, got it all, and that's how you track macronutrients. So get the scale out and have fun. All right, bye bye.